The stars stretched endlessly around the neutral planet of Erythra. Its pale blue glow reflected against the hull of the human fleet as Admiral Cale Riven's flagship approached the orbit. It was the first time humanity's military had been officially invited, or so they thought, to a galactic peace summit. Kyle stood on the bridge, staring out at the distant spiraling moons. His team of officers moved with quiet efficiency, all of them dressed in crisp uniforms adorned with Earth's insignia. Their mission was simple: attend the summit, represent humanity, and ensure that their presence was respected. But as the flagship entered the planetary orbit, a sudden wave of tension filled the bridge. A holographic message appeared in front of Cale, shimmering in blue light. "Admiral Cale Riven, you are not permitted to land. Your delegation is banned from participating in the summit." The voice was calm, almost polite, but there was no mistaking its finality. Cale's brow furrowed. "Excuse me?" he said, stepping closer to the hologram. "We have every right to attend. Humanity has maintained peace with the Council for over 50 years. We've never broken a treaty. The Council acknowledges your contributions, Admiral. However, your species has been designated as restricted from participation in high-level negotiations." Restricted. The word felt heavy in Cale's mind. He glanced at his officers. Commander Lyra Navin, his second-in-command, shook her head. "They can't be serious," she whispered. "We've done nothing wrong. We've only ever helped." Cale's jaw tightened. "We will find out why. I want every record, every historical report on humanity's military actions in the archives. We're not leaving until we know the reason." The hologram flickered and vanished. The humans were alone in orbit, their ship hovering silently above Erythra's cities. Below them, the alien delegates were already gathering in the council chambers, moving with strange, graceful efficiency. The humans felt their presence was unwelcome, and the feeling was mutual, though none of the aliens dared to approach them directly. Cale turned to his communications officer. "Enos Val, open a direct channel to the council." A moment later, a new hologram appeared, this one more formal, showing a tall, silver-skinned alien with 6 eyes and a translucent aura. "Admiral Riven," it said, "you are requested to remain in orbit. Your presence on Erythra is not permitted. The Council's decision is final." Cale's hand hovered near his communicator. "I understand your position, but I must insist on knowing the reason. Humanity has served the Council honorably for decades. We deserve an explanation." The alien hesitated, then spoke carefully. "The Council fears your species. The details are confidential. You must trust that this decision protects the interests of all involved." Cale froze. "Fear humanity?" He felt a rush of frustration and disbelief. "Fear? They fear us? For what?" The alien's multiple eyes glimmered. "Your military is unpredictable. Your ingenuity in crises is unmatched. Some delegates believe this unpredictability is too dangerous for delicate negotiations. That is all you will be told." Cale's fist clenched. "Unpredictable," he muttered. "Is that all? Do they not understand the value of strategy, of ethics, of restraint?" Commander Navin put a hand on his shoulder. "Sir, we need a plan. We can't just argue in orbit. Let's gather information, find allies. There has to be a way to prove we belong there." Kyle nodded slowly. "You're right. Prepare a team. We start investigating immediately. Humanity will not be silenced because others are afraid of our potential." The first hours of the investigation were difficult. Erythra's data archives were heavily protected, with security measures designed to prevent unauthorized access. Still, Cale and his small team found ways to navigate through less guarded sectors of the city. With the help of a few sympathetic alien staff members, they began to uncover the Council's records about humanity's past. At first, the reports were surprising. They detailed centuries-old wars on Earth, conflicts among human colonies, and decades of rapid technological advancement. Each record was annotated with notes from alien observers, often emphasizing humanity's ability to adapt to extreme circumstances. "They call this dangerous?" Ennis muttered, scanning a particularly long report. "They're praising humans here." Lyra Navin frowned. "It's praise with a warning. Look at this. Human forces often succeed through unorthodox tactics that other species cannot anticipate. Their creativity makes them valuable but frightening. That's why they fear us." Cale exhaled slowly. "So it's not that we've done anything wrong. It's that we might succeed too well. They fear our ability to act where others cannot. Ennis shook his head. I've read all the council briefings. They talk about uncontrollable potential. Like if we get involved in a problem, the outcome might be too extreme for them to handle. Kyle frowned, thinking. That's absurd. We don't seek conflict. We seek solutions. But the fact remains, they are judging us not by our ethics but by their fear of what we could do. Outside the archives, whispers began circulating among the alien delegates. Kale and his team noticed strange glances, subtle movements to avoid eye contact. Some aliens were watching them carefully, perhaps fearing that humanity might expose secrets about past conflicts or manipulations. Kale realized that this wasn't just about the summit. It was about reputation. Humanity was regarded as a force capable of changing the balance of power, and others were unsure if they could trust that power. We have to be careful, Lyra warned. Some of them might try to prevent us from learning more. They might see us as a threat, Kale nodded. Then we need evidence, not confrontation. We prove that humanity's strength is a benefit, not a danger. Their investigation revealed an unexpected pattern. Whenever human forces had intervened in conflicts across the galaxy, the results had been decisive, but always ethical. Entire fleets had been saved from destruction, colonies preserved from disaster, and civilizations protected from chaos. The human success was often so complete that other species perceived it as overwhelming. Ennis looked at the data and whispered, "No wonder they fear us. It's not that we are cruel or violent, they're scared of our effectiveness." Kyle clenched his jaw. Effectiveness tempered by morality is not a threat. It's what every species should aspire to. They just can't see that yet. As the hours passed, Kale and his team pieced together a larger picture. The Council's decision was not based on any wrongdoing. It was based on fear. Fear that humanity could solve problems in ways others could not control or predict. Fear that humans could succeed where others would fail. Fear of potential. Yet despite the Council's decision, Kale could feel a sense of opportunity. If he could show the delegates the true nature of humanity's strength, perhaps they would reconsider. Not through force, but through demonstration of wisdom, ethics, and ingenuity. That evening, Kyle stood on the observation deck of the flagship, watching the twin moons of Erythra rise. The city below was alive with alien activity, lights twinkling like distant stars. He thought of the challenges ahead. "We will not be banned forever," he said quietly. "We will show them that fear is misplaced, that humanity's military is not just power, it is responsibility, creativity, and restraint. And when they see that, they will have no choice but to welcome us." Lyra placed a hand on his shoulder. "Then we start tomorrow. No mistakes. Every step we take must prove who we are." Kale nodded. "Agreed. Humanity's time in the shadows is over. It's time the galaxy sees what we can truly do." The first part of their journey ended with a quiet determination. Though banned, humans were not defeated. They were outsiders, watched with suspicion, feared for their potential, but also uniquely capable of changing the outcome of the summit without firing a single shot. And so, humanity's military began its silent campaign, not of war but of discovery, understanding, and proving that their strength was a gift, not a danger. In a galaxy full of whispers, the truth about humanity was about to unfold, one careful step at a time. The next morning, the human delegation gathered in a small, secure room within the orbital station above Erythra. The city below glimmered like a network of stars. The humans had no official access to the council chambers, but Kyle Riven had a plan. "This is not just about being banned," Kyle said, pacing the room. "It's about understanding why. If we know why they fear us, we can address it. We can prove that humanity is not a threat, only a partner." Commander Lyra Naven and Ennis Val exchanged cautious glances. They knew the task ahead would not be easy. Every corner of Erythra was monitored by advanced security systems, and every alien delegate had allies watching for unusual activity. Yet Kyle's determination was contagious. "We start with the archives," Kale continued. "The official files may be restricted, but there are always hidden records. Old mission logs, private reports, field observations. Somewhere in all that data is the truth about humanity's reputation." Kyle assembled a small team of humans and a few sympathetic alien aides. Among them was Taval, a six-eyed diplomat who had quietly supported humanity in past interstellar negotiations. Taval moved with calm grace, her translucent skin shimmering faintly under the lights of the orbital station. The archives are heavily guarded, Taval warned. Many records you seek have layers of encryption and access codes. We must be careful. Exposure could damage your credibility, or worse. Kyle nodded. We will be careful. Our goal is truth, not confrontation. The team entered the archive's outer hall, a massive cylindrical chamber filled with floating data spheres. Each sphere contained centuries of records from various civilizations. The air hummed with information, almost alive, as if the building itself were aware of the secrets it held. Ennis reached out, selecting a sphere labeled Human Interventions, Historical Reports. Data flowed into the human interface, revealing centuries of military campaigns, exploratory missions, and peacekeeping operations. What they found was both impressive and troubling. The reports are glowing, Lyra said, scanning the first few pages. They describe human operations with terms like effective, unorthodox, decisive, and remarkable. But they're paired with warnings. Too unpredictable. Cannot be controlled. Potentially destabilizing. Kyle exhaled slowly. So it's exactly as we suspected. They fear our capability, not our intent. Ennis scrolled through several logs. Look at this one. During the Novara conflict, human forces saved 3 allied colonies from annihilation in less than 24 hours. The report calls the tactics brilliant, though excessively aggressive, and the colonies survived entirely. Kyle frowned. They fear success? They fear humanity's ability to prevent disaster when others fail? Taval spoke softly. It is not just success. It is your ability to act in ways others cannot understand. Other species are used to predictable responses, predictable strategies. Humans are unpredictable. That unpredictability can save lives, or challenge power structures. Some see it as dangerous, Lyra shook her head. Dangerous? Our actions are always guided by ethics. We do not seek destruction. We prevent it. Yet they see us as a threat because we succeed where they fail. Kyle's jaw tightened. Fear is not a reason to ban someone. But it is a reason to prepare. We need to understand every record, every instance where humanity's actions were misunderstood. Over the next few hours, the team dug deeper. They uncovered accounts of humans intervening in natural disasters, halting rogue AI uprisings, and mediating conflicts between alien species. Every success was recorded with admiration, but always with a note of caution. Human forces are too effective. They solve problems no one else can, which makes them unpredictable and frightening. Lyra read aloud. They are literally afraid that we will succeed too well. Kyle leaned against a data console, rubbing his forehead. It's absurd. Our greatest strength is our ability to solve problems quickly, ethically, and decisively. That's what the galaxy needs, yet they see only fear. Ennis added, there are also repeated mentions of our adaptability. The Council reports emphasize that humans adjust tactics in real time, improvising solutions when plans fail. Other species' strategies are rigid. Humans are fluid. They cannot anticipate our responses. That scares them, Kale nodded slowly. We cannot change who we are, but perhaps we can show them that unpredictability, when guided by ethics and reason, is a gift, not a threat. As they worked, strange things began happening. Access logs indicated attempts to trace their presence in the archives. Surveillance drones hovered nearby, and encrypted messages were intercepted, suggesting that some delegates wanted the humans removed from orbit entirely. Kale noticed the signs immediately. They're watching us, he said. Some delegates do not want this investigation to succeed. They fear that exposure of the truth will weaken their influence. Lyra's eyes narrowed. Then we must act faster. The longer we delay, the more likely they will take measures against us. Taval agreed. We must be subtle. Information is our weapon, but exposure is a risk. In the late hours of Erythra's night, the team uncovered a breakthrough, a secret council protocol, buried in layers of encryption. It stated that any species demonstrating extreme problem-solving abilities in military or crisis situations could be restricted from participation in high-level peace negotiations. The rationale was simple. Such species might act in ways others could not predict or control, creating tension or instability. Kale read the protocol carefully. This explains everything. They are not punishing us for wrongdoing. They are fearing what we could do, fear of potential. Ennis shook his head in disbelief. They literally banned us because we are too capable. We're seen as too powerful, too clever, too unpredictable. Lyra looked worried. But this means there's nothing stopping them from using the same reasoning against us in the future. They could restrict humanity permanently if they choose. Kyle's eyes hardened. Then we must prove that our potential is not a danger. It is a benefit. We must demonstrate that humanity's military is guided by intelligence, ethics, and restraint. Only then will the galaxy trust us. The investigation also revealed evidence of manipulation. Some alien factions had spread false stories about human interventions, exaggerating risks and downplaying ethical guidance. These factions wanted to maintain the ban because they saw humanity as a political threat. This explains the whispers we've noticed, Kyle said. Some delegates are afraid of us. Some want to control the narrative. But the truth is stronger than fear or politics, Taval nodded. We can expose the lies without confrontation, show them quietly that humans act with integrity and wisdom. Then the Council cannot deny our value. Ennis began assembling a digital presentation. We can prepare a demonstration. Real data, verified records, examples of human actions saving lives across the galaxy. Not propaganda, but evidence. That will speak louder than words, Kale smiled faintly. Exactly. We prove who we are through truth. Humanity does not need to fight to be respected. We need to show our strength responsibly, ethically, and decisively. As the day turned into night, the human team paused to reflect. They were banned from the summit, yet they had uncovered a profound truth. Humanity's greatest power was the very reason they were feared. Kale looked out at the city lights below. We have a choice, he said quietly. We can let fear define us, or we can let truth guide us. The galaxy is afraid of humans, yes, but we will show them that fear is misplaced. Our unpredictability, our creativity, our strength, these are gifts, not weapons. Lyra placed a hand on his shoulder. Then we prepare. We gather evidence. We plan our demonstration, and we do it without making anyone feel threatened. That is how we win their trust, Kyle nodded. Agreed. The Council thinks they can control the narrative. We will show them that humanity cannot be judged by fear alone. We are not just a military. We are problem solvers, protectors, innovators, and soon they will see it too. The first step in humanity's path to acceptance was complete. They had uncovered the hidden reason for their ban, revealing the Council's fear of human potential. Now the challenge was clear: transform fear into understanding, suspicion into trust, and exclusion into collaboration. Kyle knew it would not be easy. Some delegates would resist, some would continue to fear the unknown, but humanity had faced impossible odds before and had always adapted, solved, and persevered. This was no different. And so, as Erythra's moons glowed softly in the orbital sky, the human team prepared to take their next step, quietly, ethically, and decisively, into a galaxy that both feared and needed them. The investigation was over, but the real work had just begun. The human delegation remained in orbit above Erythra, yet the tension in the station was palpable. Every corridor seemed to hum with alien whispers, and every glance toward the council chambers felt like scrutiny under a microscope. Admiral Kale Riven knew that uncovering the truth about humanity's reputation was only half the battle. The other half was navigating the shadows, the factions that wanted humanity kept out. Kyle, I've intercepted communications between several delegates, Ennis Val reported, his voice low. They're coordinating behind the scenes. Some of them do not want humanity involved in the summit at any cost. They fear that we will reveal truths that could weaken their positions. Kyle frowned. So the ban isn't just fear. It's politics. Some species want to keep us out to protect their influence. Commander Lyra Naven's eyes narrowed. That makes sense. If humanity's military can solve problems no one else can, then anyone depending on political advantage feels threatened. They prefer fear to collaboration. Kyle nodded. Then we need a plan. Not confrontation, but careful strategy. We cannot allow their politics to dictate the future of the summit, or the safety of the galaxy. Kale called a meeting with Taval, the six-eyed diplomat who had quietly guided humanity in the past. She hovered near the holographic table, her translucent skin shimmering faintly in the dim light. There are layers to this, she said softly. The council itself is cautious, yes, but the factions working against you are much more aggressive. They spread rumors. exaggerate risks, and sometimes sabotage investigations to keep species like yours from gaining trust. Kale's fists clenched. Then they are playing with more than politics, they are gambling with lives. Their fear of potential is causing inaction. We cannot allow that, Taval nodded. You will need to work discreetly. Show them that humanity's strength is not a threat. Your methods must be precise and measured. Kyle leaned back. Agreed. Then we begin by exposing the truth quietly. Evidence, records, verified accounts of past missions. No exaggeration, no provocation. Just the facts. The next days were spent gathering intelligence and reaching out to sympathetic delegates. Kale realized that many species were curious about humanity, but hesitant to speak openly. Some had observed human interventions and admired them from a distance, yet fear of the factions prevented them from acknowledging it. One evening, Kale and Lyra met with Jorik, a member of a minor alien coalition that had quietly requested human assistance in the past. Jorik's six-limbed frame was covered with blue patterns that shimmered under the station lights. Your species is respected, Admiral, Jorik said cautiously, but the Council fears you. They believe you act unpredictably, and some of us prefer it that way. Your unpredictability challenges our control. Kyle studied him carefully. And yet, if we act ethically, responsibly, and effectively, we can turn that fear into trust. Would your coalition support such a demonstration? Jorik hesitated, then nodded. We can assist, but others may resist. You must move carefully, Kyle smiled faintly. Careful, yes, but decisive. Humanity cannot be judged by fear any longer. The breakthrough came when Ennis discovered a series of hidden reports in the archives. These reports described the most extreme reactions of alien civilizations to human interventions. In one case, a colony threatened by a collapsing star was saved by human ingenuity, yet the alien observers labeled it as a display of uncontainable power, unsettling for other species. Lyra shook her head. They don't see the lives we saved, they see our ability to change outcomes they cannot predict. Kale's jaw tightened. Then it's not enough to exist peacefully. We must prove that humanity's potential can be a stabilizing force, not a destabilizing one. Ennis added, there are also indications that the factions we suspected are preparing to sabotage the summit. They are worried that your presence will shift influence away from them. Kale's eyes hardened. Then the time for subtlety ends. We act carefully, yes, but we must be ready to intervene if necessary. Not with violence, but with intelligence, strategy, and evidence. Kale devised a plan to demonstrate humanity's value without provoking conflict. He would show the Council a controlled ethical intervention in a crisis simulation. A test to prove that humans could solve problems other species could not, while respecting life and ethical rules. Taval helped coordinate the simulation with the sympathetic delegates. This will be delicate, she warned. Any misstep, and your actions could confirm the fears of the factions. But if done correctly, it will show the Council that humanity's power is not to be feared. Kale nodded. Then we prepare. Every detail must be precise. Every action must reflect our principles. The human team worked tirelessly to prepare the simulation. They chose a scenario involving a distant colony under threat from a sudden, deadly solar flare. While alien civilizations had tried and failed to stabilize the situation, humans would demonstrate a solution. Ennis coordinated data streams, Lyra managed logistics, and Kale oversaw strategy. Each step emphasized ethical considerations, minimizing risk to civilians, protecting the colony's environment, and coordinating with alien systems rather than overriding them. As the simulation began, the aliens in the control chamber watched cautiously. The humans acted decisively, improvising when minor obstacles arose, communicating clearly, and demonstrating problem-solving that respected all life. Slowly, the observers began to see the truth. Humanity's unpredictability was not reckless. It was controlled, guided by intelligence, ethics, and creativity. But the shadowy factions did not remain idle. Midway through the simulation, Ennis detected attempts to interfere with data streams, attempts to falsify results and make human methods appear dangerous. Kyle's eyes narrowed. They're trying to manipulate perception. Not reality, but opinion. Lyra gritted her teeth. Then we stop them. We cannot let fear dictate interpretation. Using careful countermeasures, the humans protected the simulation's integrity. Every intervention, every decision was verified and documented in real time. By the end, the simulation succeeded completely. The colony was stabilized, lives were saved, and no harm was caused to the environment. The aftermath was remarkable. The observers whispered among themselves, astonished at what they had seen. Some delegates approached Kale privately. "You have demonstrated something extraordinary," one alien said. "Your species can achieve what others cannot, yet you do so responsibly." "Perhaps our assumptions were wrong." Kale nodded. "Our potential is not a threat, it is a responsibility. Humanity is capable of acting where others cannot, but we act ethically and always with purpose." Even some of the shadowy factions were forced to reconsider. They could no longer argue that humans were inherently dangerous. The evidence was undeniable. Humanity's strength was not recklessness, it was guided power. That evening, Kale reflected on the events with his team. They had uncovered the hidden truth behind the ban: fear of potential, reinforced by political manipulation. They had demonstrated humanity's value through action rather than argument. "This is only the beginning," Kyle said quietly. "We have proven that humans can act ethically and effectively, but the Council's full acceptance will take time. Some will resist, some will remain fearful. Our job is to continue demonstrating who we are calmly and responsibly." Lyra nodded. "And we will. They will see that humanity's military is more than a force. It is a source of protection, intelligence, and innovation. Fear cannot override that truth forever." Kyle allowed himself a small smile. "Exactly. We have turned a threat into an opportunity. Now the galaxy will see not just the power of humans, but the wisdom that guides that power." As Erythra's moons glowed in the orbital sky, the humans prepared for the next stage of their mission. They would continue gathering allies, exposing deception, and demonstrating their value to the Council. The shadowy factions could plot and whisper, but humanity had already taken the first decisive steps to transform fear into trust. Kale knew that challenges lay ahead: diplomatic obstacles, political intrigue, and skepticism. But he also knew that humanity's greatest strength was not just power, but the courage and creativity to use it responsibly, and so, humanity's military continued its journey, not with weapons but with intellect, ethics, and ingenuity. The galaxy might have feared them at first, but soon, it would learn that humans could be the guardians of peace it so desperately needed. The hidden threat was revealed. The simulation was complete and the path forward was clear. Humanity's potential, once feared, was beginning to shine, not as a danger but as a promise. The main summit chamber of Erythra was unlike anything humans had seen before. Towering crystalline structures spiraled toward the ceiling, reflecting the soft glow of ambient light. Delegates from dozens of alien species filled the room, their appearances as varied as the stars themselves. Some had multiple limbs, others shifted forms subtly, and a few radiated faint energy fields that shimmered visibly in the light. Kyle Riven entered with his team, feeling the weight of countless eyes upon them. Though banned from official participation, the simulation had earned them an invitation to present a demonstration. It was a delicate opportunity, and Kale knew any misstep could confirm the fears of skeptical delegates. Lyra whispered, "Everyone is watching. Some will be suspicious, some will try to manipulate outcomes." Kale nodded. "We act with clarity, ethics, and intelligence. That is our advantage." The demonstration began with a holographic projection of a distant human colony under threat. A massive solar flare was barreling toward it, capable of obliterating entire cities. Alien observers murmured. Many had tried and failed to stabilize the situation in previous attempts. Kyle's voice carried clearly as he explained the simulation. "We will demonstrate a method of planetary defense that prioritizes life, environmental stability, and coordination with all systems involved. No action is taken without ethical oversight, and all decisions are calculated to prevent unnecessary harm." The simulation unfolded in real time. Human strategists anticipated minor fluctuations in the solar flare's intensity, adjusting defensive measures on the fly. Drones redirected energy flows. Emergency shelters were activated and vital systems protected. Each step highlighted human ingenuity and responsiveness. Delegates leaned forward, observing closely. The council chambers, normally a place of cold discussion, seemed captivated by the display. Halfway through, Ennis Val noticed unusual interference. Data streams were being subtly altered. The shadowy factions were attempting sabotage, hoping to make human interventions appear reckless. Kale's eyes narrowed. "They're testing us," he murmured. "We cannot allow misrepresentation." Using quick logic corrections and secure channels, humans restored the integrity of the simulation. Each action was verified and recorded in real time, leaving no room for misinterpretation. Lyra whispered, "They won't be able to claim we acted irresponsibly this time." Kyle nodded. "Exactly. Evidence is stronger than fear or opinion." By the end of the demonstration, the colony in the simulation was fully stabilized. No harm had come to its inhabitants, and every system was preserved. Silence fell over the chamber as delegates absorbed what they had seen. Finally, one of the elder delegates, a massive, luminescent being with a voice like resonating crystal, spoke. "Humans, like your methods are unlike anything we have observed. Unpredictable, yes, but your unpredictability is guided by reason, ethics, and a deep concern for life. Perhaps our fears were misplaced." Kale stepped forward. "Our potential is not a threat. It is responsibility. Humanity can act where others cannot, and we choose to do so ethically and decisively." Some of the skeptical factions remained uneasy. Whispers filled the room, questioning whether humans could consistently uphold their standards. Kyle knew that trust could not be demanded. It had to be earned. Taval, the six-eyed diplomat, approached Kale after the demonstration. "You have shifted perceptions. Many now recognize that humanity's military is not a danger, but a resource for stability and cooperation. Some will resist longer, but the seed of trust has been planted." Kale nodded. "Good, now we focus on alliances. We need delegates who understand that humans are partners, not threats." Over the next few hours, humans quietly consulted with sympathetic delegates. They explained not only the technical aspects of their interventions, but the ethical framework guiding every decision. Slowly, support began to grow. Delegates who had once whispered in fear now openly acknowledged humanity's value. But the shadowy factions did not concede easily. One attempted to challenge the demonstration, claiming it was a controlled simulation irrelevant to real crises. Kale responded calmly, presenting verified historical records of real human interventions where lives had been saved across multiple galaxies. The room fell silent. The evidence was irrefutable. Even the most resistant delegates could not deny humanity's effectiveness when coupled with ethical oversight. Kale addressed the council formally. "Fear should not define judgment. Humanity's military is not a threat. It is a tool for cooperation, protection, and problem-solving. We ask only to be allowed to participate fully, so that we may help prevent disasters before they occur." By the close of the summit day, the mood in the chamber had shifted. Delegates who had once regarded humans with suspicion now acknowledged their abilities not as a threat, but as an asset. Whispered fears persisted in corners, but the majority recognized that humanity's unpredictability was an advantage if guided by ethics and intelligence. As the humans returned to their orbiting ship, Kyle reflected on the day. "We've proven our value," he said, "but one day of demonstration is not enough. Trust is built over time. Some factions may still resist, but we have made the impossible possible. We've shown that humanity's strength is a force for good." Lyra smiled faintly. "And the factions that resist will eventually have no choice but to accept the truth." Kale looked out over Erythra. The moons glimmered softly, reflecting in his eyes. "Yes, the galaxy has begun to see humanity as more than a threat. Now it must learn to rely on us responsibly." The first major step in transforming fear into trust was complete. Humanity had proven that their military could act ethically, decisively, and creatively. But Kale knew this was only the beginning. True acceptance would require patience, continued demonstration, and unwavering commitment to their principles. The final day of the summit was tense. Delegates gathered in the council chamber, their conversations filled with speculation and cautious optimism. Humanity's demonstration had impressed most species, yet some remained skeptical. Kale Riven understood that the moment of true acceptance would require not just proof, but reflection. "We cannot underestimate the significance of this day," Kale said to his team. "Today we transition from being feared outsiders to valued participants. But we must act with care. Our words and actions must reinforce what we have already shown." Lyra nodded. "We focus on collaboration, transparency, and respect. We show them that humanity is not here to dominate, but to protect and assist. HFY prepared the final presentation, compiling all historical evidence, simulation results, and verified records of human interventions. Every piece highlighted not just effectiveness but ethical reasoning and responsibility. The council's final session began. Holographic displays filled the chamber, showing colonies, crises, and the results of human actions. Kale stepped forward, addressing the delegates directly. "Delegates of the council," he began, "humanity has been banned from these summits due to fear. Fear of our potential, our creativity, and our capacity to act decisively. Today, we have shown that this fear is misplaced. Our strength is guided by ethics, reason, and respect for all life. We do not seek to dominate. We seek to collaborate, to protect and to solve challenges that threaten all species." There was a silence in the chamber, heavy with contemplation. Delegates exchanged glances. Many nodded subtly, acknowledging the truth in Kale's words. Some of the remaining skeptical factions attempted to interject, questioning the consistency of human actions. Kale responded with calm authority. "History and evidence speak for themselves. Humanity has repeatedly acted to preserve life, stabilize conflicts, and prevent disaster. Our methods may be unconventional, but our principles are unwavering. We ask only for the opportunity to contribute, not to control." Taval stepped forward to support Kale. "The evidence is clear. Humans act ethically, decisively, and effectively. To exclude them is to limit the Council's capacity to protect the galaxy." Even the most resistant delegates found themselves unable to refute the facts. Whispers of fear faded, replaced by acknowledgement of human responsibility and capability. Finally, the Council reached a decision. Humanity's ban was lifted, formally allowing them to participate in peace summits and diplomatic deliberations. The announcement was met with a mix of applause, cautious optimism, and quiet relief. Kale's team felt a sense of accomplishment. They had not fought with weapons or intimidation. They had won trust through evidence, ethics, and demonstration of capability. Kyle addressed the Council one final time. "We thank you for this opportunity. Humanity will continue to act responsibly, creatively, and ethically. We understand the weight of our potential, and we accept the responsibility that comes with it. Together we can prevent disasters and foster peace across the galaxy." In the days that followed, humans and aliens worked together to form a new collaborative task force. Humanity's unique abilities, strategic thinking, problem-solving, and adaptability were now recognized as assets. Delegates who had once feared them now relied on their insight in planning defenses, mediating disputes, and solving crises. Kale reflected on the journey from being banned to being accepted. The Council's initial fear had been based not on malice but on certainty, fear of a species capable of achieving the impossible. Humanity had turned that fear into trust, showing that potential guided by ethics is not something to fear, but something to embrace. On the observation deck of the flagship, Kale looked out at the galaxy, glittering with stars and possibilities. "Our military was once feared," he said quietly, "but strength alone is not enough. What matters is how it is used. Humanity has shown that intelligence, ethics, and responsibility make us worthy of trust. The galaxy now knows that our potential is a promise, not a threat." Lyra joined him, smiling softly. "And this is only the beginning. We will continue to act responsibly, proving that humanity is a force for good in the galaxy." Kale nodded. "Yes, fear may have kept us away once, but understanding and trust have welcomed us now. Humanity's time among the stars has truly begun." The moons of Erythra reflected in the calm surface of the observation deck, a quiet symbol of new beginnings. The galaxy had learned to see humanity not as a threat, but as a guardian, a species whose greatest strength lay not just in power, but in wisdom, creativity, and ethical action. And so, humanity stepped fully into its place among the stars, ready to face the future with courage, ingenuity, and responsibility.